Wish you all a very happy new year. On behalf of Chairperson Uma Chigurupati and her committee, I, Honorary Secretary Flo Radhika Agarwal, extend a warm welcome to our esteemed guest speakers, Ms. Swapna Dutt, Ms. Nandini Reddy, Ms. Malvika Nair, respected past chairs, members old and new, to Flo Hyderabad's virtual session on women power at Red Box Office. Indian film industry has been witnessing a noticeable change. Male domination is slowly being edged out, and a host of women are getting into production, direction, and writing to create meaningful cinema with nimble and well plotted scripts. They are changing the narrative and showcasing stories from a different perspective. From commercial to out of the box, women are producing films in all genres. There is now a whole young generation of women who are redefining what it is to be an Indian filmmaker. Today, we have amidst us Swapna Dutt and Nandini Reddy, who promise to be path changers as producer and director, and Malvika Nair, who has shown her talent and versatility across various roles she has played as an actor. These women have managed to breathe fresh air into Indian cinema by bringing a fresh perspective with the diversity of mind boggling concepts. Let's start the session by paying homage to our motherland, by salutation to our national flag. I would like to invite Chairperson Uma Chigurupati to give her welcome address.
A very good afternoon, all. A special welcome to our guests, Swapna Dutt, Nandini Reddy, and Malvika Nair. New Year greetings to one and all. Wishing you all a very happy and healthy 2022. The emphasis is there always on good health. The experience of past 2 years reminding and reiterating the importance of being healthy, happy, and positive. Once again, I'm wishing you all a very happy and healthy new year. As you all know, today's program was planned as a physical one, but due to the present scenario, changed into virtual. Thanks to all the three guests for accepting the change and being with us today. Let me quickly recap the progress of the chapter's work in the month of December. It is little disappointing to postpone the inauguration of Flow Industrial Park, an initiative which is prestigious to our chapter. I assure you, as soon as the situation permits, we shall announce the new date. As part of our ongoing empowerment efforts, the second cohort of Flow VHub incubation program is ready for takeoff with 4 participants. Apart from that, one member for pre-incubation and another member for Launchpad program have been selected. My best wishes to all of them and hope to see them flourish with the guidance of the expert mentors and larger business, banking, and investment network that they will now have access to. Our last program, Cooking with Millets, saw one of the highest viewerships. With business opportunities burgeoning in the millet sector, I urge interested members to reach out to our knowledge partner IIMR for any guidance they may need in this sector. Or they also can call our empowerment committee members for assistance. I'm very happy to inform that we entered into a collaboration with NSRCL, which is a leading startup incubation center at IIM Bangalore, to bring learning, incubation, and mentorship opportunities to our members. We are kickstarting the association by floating an invitation to you to join the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Women program being facilitated by IIM Bangalore. The course come to you fully free. I hope to see a lot of participation from our dynamic chapter members. As part of our continued engagement in skilling, we conducted 2 learning sessions for the DDU GKY program participants, which was received with great enthusiasm. Sixth round of Mega Job Drive program conducted in association with Hyderabad Police was very successful, in which thousands of unemployed youth have participated with 800 members securing jobs. An initiative which is providing jobs to thousands and connecting needy youth to the employers. We had our 8th session of Feet on Fire, a walk at Qutub Shahi tombs with dual purpose of burning your calories while absorbing the history. I welcome all the members to participate actively in all our ongoing initiatives. Thank you very much.
Like Steven Spielberg once said, people have forgotten to tell a story. Stories don't have a middle or an end anymore. They usually have a beginning that never stops beginning. Good afternoon, everyone. Let us now introduce to you 3 dynamic women who've been a part of the journey of creation of some fascinating stories and have made their mark in the world of cinema. Born in the city of Vijayawada, Swapna Dutt is an Indian film producer based out of Hyderabad. Being an avid fan of creating stories, she began her career at an early age in filmmaking as an associate producer of the movie Azad in the year 2000. Post her first project as an associate producer, she went on to co-produce films with her sister Priyanka Dutt under the banner Vaijayanti Movies. And post her MBA in the US, she wanted to carve a niche in the media industry and so founded Vaijayanti Televentures in the year 2006. Swapna launched Swapna Cinemas in the year 2014 along with her sister Priyanka Dutt. Their films won many awards: National Film Award for Best Feature Film, Mahanati, Nandi Award for Best Feature Film, Yevade Subramaniam, and many more such awards. Now, I would like to hand over to Sujita to introduce the next panelist for the afternoon.
Good afternoon, everybody. Hailing from the city of Pearls, Hyderabad, Miss Nandini Reddy is an Indian film director and screenwriter in the Telugu film industry. She began working in the film space in the year 1995 as an assistant director for a children's film, Little Soldiers. She then went on to do various projects and debuted in the year 2011 with the film Alla Modalaindi, for which she received the Nandi Award for the Best First Film of a Director and Saima Award for Best Debut Director. Her other credits include Kalyana Vaibhogame and Oh Baby. On this note, let's welcome Miss Nandini Reddy. Over to Radhika Agarwal to introduce Malvika Nair.
Malvika Nair is an Indian actress who has appeared in Telugu, Malayalam, and Tamil language films. She's received acting offers at the age of 13 years. After appearing in minor supporting roles in several Malayalam films, Malvika played her first lead role in the film Black Butterfly. She was very well appreciated for her performance as a blind girl in her Tamil debut film and received various awards, including Filmfare Award for Best Actress. Some of her well-appreciated films are Yevade Subramaniam and Taxiwala. I would now like to hand over to Chairperson Uma Chigurupati to take the session forward. And members, don't forget to post your questions in the chat box. We'll take them at the end of the session.
Thank you. Cinema can fill the empty spaces of your life and your loneliness, said Pedro Almodovar. This single sentence is revealing what kind of impact cinema has on humans and on the society. It is a powerful media, and the overall revenue of Indian cinema reached 2.7 billion in 2019. Annually, 1,800 movies produced in India. Telugu film industry is second biggest in our country, and many times it surpassed Hindi movies in the number of movies released in a year. The Telugu states consists of approximately 2,800 theaters, the largest number of cinema halls in any state in India. The industry holds the Guinness World Record for the largest film production facility in the world. That's Ramoji Film City. For an industry which has this kind of power and impact, seeing that it's healthy, it should thrive and grow in proper manner and in good hands is very important. Today, we have three women with us representing three different aspects of cinema: a producer, a director, and an actor. Let us know more about the industry and also of the opportunities for women in this field. First, we'll start with Swapna Dutt, who is not new to the industry, born in the family. Her father and banner is very well known to the Indians, especially to the Telugu film viewers. Swapna, not only a film producer, she is a media professional, and under the name of Vaijayanti Televentures, she changed the face of Telugu industry. Isn't it, Swapna?
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Before this movie release, Swapna, let me tell you very clearly, why did they invest in this movie is what I thought. Let me tell you very clearly. But I also thought it is in the blood. I know about the, Vaijayanti movies, the lots of ups and downs, whatever it is. So movies, how did you come into this? Was it an obvious choice because of your father being a producer and your familiarity of the field? Or was it, can you tell me, your journey? And also I would like to know, keep up to the legacy of Vaijayanti movies. How is it?
Difficult, very difficult, every day. Yeah, but it's a challenge also, and it's a very sweet challenge that we like and that we love. Cinema is, according to me, is a basket of dreams, and all of us dream in every other field. I mean, it's there from medicine to engineering to in every field you dream. But then cinema is a lot of dreams. It's a cinema itself is a dream. When you grow up in a family like that, when you listen to cinema day in, day out, I mean, and it's just not cinema. Cinema is obviously very glamorous, clearly. I mean, that's something that everybody wants to be in. I mean, that's on a different note. But then how it's being made is a process. Like I'd say probably from the age of 6 or 7, by the time we start realizing things, I started realizing the process of filmmaking from my father. My father would really, really involve us at every stage in a very sweet way. Like he'll come make us listen to some song from his upcoming film. He'll come and narrate the whole story to us. He'll tell us it's really like a dream. It's like we wait for our father to come back home and tell us what he's making. It's like a story. I mean, those were really our bedtime stories, and we grew up with that. And he was our hero, and the kind of passion he brought for making a product was something else. And I think we grew up with those dreams, and obviously it's an obvious choice that I had to come into cinema. Clearly that's how it is. But more than anything, I'd like to introduce myself besides all these lovely things that Mati had told, which is a very important factor I'd like to use this platform to say, is I am the eldest of the 3 girl daughters that a family has. And I come from a family where my parents said, don't believe in myths like get married at 21 or do have a child at 28, or I didn't come from that sort of structure. Maybe that helped in we being we today, and we are able to do what we wanted to do. So yeah, to start off, that's where I come from. Yeah.
How is the journey?
It's been great. I mean, and also Uma, the brighter side, you all have said, shows a clip of Mahanati, overwhelming things and all that. And especially also when someone like us, we are the second generation entrepreneurs. We're not like the first timers. Like we're not someone who started things by ourselves. So as a perception, it looks very easy. It feels like, for these girls, it's easy. It's no big deal. They just come, take up whatever the father's done. And no, my first teacher for my life was my father, clearly. The second teacher are my failures. I failed miserably. And that helped me grow as a human being. I mean, not only just career, but as a human being. I'm a more sorted human being today. I mean, for the kind of failures that I've seen in life, I think I'm a better sensible and a sorted mentally I am, because today's success and failure don't matter so much to me. It's the amount of work that I do, and that gives me pleasure. So yeah, the journey has been so great. Yeah, it's been last few decade has been good. Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
We're talking about failures and success, Swapna. Yeah, this scenario, going for big productions or spending so much on movies, is it advisable? I think you are also going to go for a big movie. I think with
You're
top
absolutely asking the wrong person.
sales.
Together one of the biggest films, and yes, but I totally have a different vision to it. Not only me, I mean as an industry, and I think as a business, I think we're flourishing big time. Yes, COVID is a concern, and we're all in really testing times, all of us, every field, for sure. But cinema, I think, has opened up like never before, and will also open up like never before. I mean, clearly, we have one of our existing examples. I'd just like to talk about something that we've done ourselves. It's a very small film that we put together. It's called Jati Ratnalu. This was just after the second wave of COVID, before the second wave of COVID, and when theaters weren't doing very well and there not so much cinema released in the theaters. We were one of the first films, Uppana and we were one of the first films to release at that point of time, and both the films had an extraordinary breakthrough. And I also think, entertainment is the cheapest form of, getting some pleasure. I think, it's the most easiest way to forget all your hardships on a day, and then go to theater, watch good film, and come back home and feel the film for the next couple of days if it's a good film. So I think people are wanting to go to theaters more than even before. So I think we are in a very sorted business at this point of time.
No, I totally agree with you. People will go to another dream world and come back. Not definitely the bigger productions. It will be served to that kind of purpose. But right now you are watching. One day of delay of a movie. How much of burden on everybody. So we are witnessing that with RRR. So still, do you think, at this juncture, we have to go for that big movies?
I personally think if you give a child a chocolate, or if you want to eat something, or if you feel like doing something and it's taking its own time to come, you would actually relish it more. You will probably run and go to it. So I think that's what is definitely going to happen to all these films which are really waiting for things to clear and come up, Cinema's there, Uma, clearly. I think it's, how good you make it. Like, it's as simple as that. I think it's definitely there. And, there are there are also other avenues that are increasing day by day. There's a digital medium, there's satellite, there's music, there are other mediums which are increasing tremendously. And also theaters, like if you just talk about the last film which did extremely well in box office is Pushpa. It did phenomenal numbers in spite of all these conditions. So I think it's a good move not to do anything at this point of time, whatever RRR did or what Radhesham did. I think wait, and when things clear up, come into theaters, and I think they'll have great eyeballs. I think they'll have a phenomenal football for sure.
Good. You have great experience with television production. Why did you shift from television to cinema, or you are always there simultaneously? Have you continued in that?
I love television. The kind of pleasure television gives me. There was a point I was doing like 3 productions and 2 television productions. The margins are very low when you do television, when you kind of experience successful cinema, and the kind of work that you put into it is as much. But still, the kind of pleasure that, you feel more closer to the audience. You feel you're reaching them every week. You feel you kind of get to certain sections that you're probably not meet in regular life. So I love television. Yes, I've taken a break in content production because there's too much happening around at this point of time. There are 4 productions happening. Otherwise, whenever there's a chance, whenever there's a break, I always go back to television. I like television.
And this question is like not only meant for Swapna, for many young girls. Why I'm mentioning here gender is, number one, you being so young, in coming into production, and you belong to the family, and being a girl. These 3 things, if you remember, was it difficult for being accepted in this field? Because I'm telling you, I had seen not only in India, even in Western countries and many places also, when a heiress comes, even with so much of knowledge and also being accepted is very difficult compared to a male child. Personally, I had seen in many places. That's why I'm asking you this question.
I mean, the first challenge is, especially coming from here, no? It is like first and foremost a stamp on your head that these guys know nothing. They come from something that the father did. They're just coming and sitting in the chair and just exploring things. They'll just work for a few hours and go back home and chill. Not even work. Work is not the real label for us. So that's there. I mean, I think it's there for either a woman or a man who come from an already established structure. That's clearly there. And being a girl, the challenge is doubled for sure. So, I mean, when I started my career, a lot of people thought, okay, this girl is just working in the time frame of finishing her degree till getting married. Just for, a bit of, whatever time pass that she's doing for the next couple of years. They never took me seriously on a serious note. Except for my father, nobody took me seriously. So, but thank God, because people like him exist, people like us exist, but back then things were slightly different, I should say, Uma. Now things are very different. I mean, I know a lot of technicians. I know a lot of production houses are really, really looking for people, like looking for women to come in because they're more responsible. I'm talking, and I'm not talking about like gender bias. I see that personally. Of course, we have our limitations. There are certain timings that we have to work around. There, like with women, there are a lot of other few limitations are there, but you can just trust a job, like, with them. So I think things have changed. There are a lot of women coming up now. We, like, in an office like ours, with 4 production, we have 50% of women. At least, I'd say 40 for sure. 40 for sure. That's not because I'm a woman and, like not like Priyanka's, we be running it like that. Not like that. Even Annapurna is working on a lot of women. So is a lot of production houses. You see Rajamouli Garu's production house. I mean, his team comprises of a lot of women. So I think times have changed, definitely.
That's wonderful to hear. More women coming in. One more
question
I'd like to ask you. You are known as a tough master, right? I believe you. Yeah, taskmaster and being very tough. Tell us about this. What did you do differently? Actually, I had seen in one of your interviews, you yourself are mentioning that.
Tough fight and a tough master. It's not really a tough master, but I get really. I get pissed when I get pissed, and there are no boundaries. Like, how can a woman be like this? How can a woman talk like that? I said, oh, women can do other things, but I don't shout at you. I do everything together. So yeah, when it has to come into that, I think it's just getting the work done clearly, Uma. And so Priyanka and me, I mean, we work together, right? So she's a softer person. So I'm not as soft. So we play basic good cop, bad cop, I guess, but yeah, my way of dealing with things, I think, but I'm not that bad either, for sure. Nandini, yeah, whenever she comes in, she'll talk.
So, one thing related to finance, how is the funding and finance scenario in the cinema field? Women producers, do they get investments?
women entrepreneurs, do they get
Women
investments?
producer,
Do they generally get investments? No, in generally, do women entrepreneurs get investments? I'm
that's
talking
why
about.
it is difficult. That's why I'm,
It is. It is like
I'm asking you in particular.
even a small scale to a medium to the big sectors, you definitely need your father's name or the husband's name or whatever. There's this little cute web series that I'm doing. I just want to mention this, especially we wrote about this girl who's really enterprising and wants to start a business, and there are a lot of schemes, right? Like Inti Mahalakshmi, to that, to this, to that, and she goes to bankers and she asks for loan. She says, this is not just namesake. You have to have either your father or your husband or someone supporting you. I mean, it's unfortunate. We still belong to that sort of systems. But then, yeah, when it comes to cinema, I'd not say women, men at this point of time, because on whole, I think as an industry, it's looked upon. And what happens is, I mean, in generally, cinema on whole still works on a very traditional sort of film funding, which is the regular film finances. There was at a point of time, there was institutions like IDBI, and IDBI especially was funding films, but then they were aggressive at one point of time, not anymore. So we are now actually wanting more institutions to come and fund the projects, because that way we'll be able to do a lot more cinema. There's a Yes Bank, there's a bit of ICICI, and these institutions have started funding. But I mean, we want to kind of, every time I have these sort of discussions and meetings, we kind of tell them that, it's a very, very organized industry. Cinema is the most organized industry. Please come and fund us. We get money for lesser interest rates. We'll be able to do a lot more in terms of content. We'll be able to take bigger steps, leaps. We'll be able to do very interesting sort of cinema also, not the regular sort where I'll definitely get money. I could probably explore other things too. So yeah, definitely we're lacking that bit of a support at this point of time. Very traditional sort of financing. But yeah, institutions are pretty less at this point.
Yeah, more institutions should come forward to
Come in.
grow the film industry in a healthy way.
They think it's a very risky business, which is not at all it.
That's right. That's right. It has such an impact on society, and to grow it in a healthy way, you need proper funds, not with those kind of interest rates and all. I totally agree. I totally agree. So I'll come back to you. Let me move on to Nandini.
Yes, please.
A woman of courage who thought of various career options, from prawn culture to civil services, finally ending up in creative line as a film director, proved successful and made women-centric movies like Oh Baby. Welcome, Nandini.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Congratulations, Nandini. I don't know how that idea came. Fantastic. How is the journey so far? Did you any time feel of choosing an alternate career or anything? I just say, what is this question? Because of the initial struggle I'm talking about. So can you explain in brief?
I was a very confused child. I didn't really know what is it that I want to do in life. When I was in school, there were two major fields. One was engineering and one was medicine. I hated maths, so the obvious choice was science. So, but one thing I was quite clear about is what I didn't want to do. So when I started doing my intermediate and started studying, I realized if you have to be a doctor, you're going to be studying for the next 10, 12 years of your life. And at that point, I said, I don't want to do this. So then the question was, what next? And I started playing cricket in college. So then I joined the next college, which had a big cricket field and had a cricket team. So as you see, there was no concrete thought process behind it. I think now in hindsight, most kids are like that. And I feel it's okay to lose yourself before you find yourself. And then I went to JNU purely because I wanted to study outside Hyderabad. I wanted to get away from home for a bit, live on my own. And JNU kind of gave me a different worldview. It was literally like this frog out of the well, and you see a different world, a whole new perspective. You're meeting students from across the country, different strata of society, huge cross-section of people, huge amount of intellectual engagement. And it was a completely life-changing experience for me in JNU. when I was in JNU, I was thinking of writing the civils and becoming an IPS officer. Then, as I started, studying in JNU, I realized I'm not a person who likes to be boxed. So I didn't think I would make a very good, person who works within government constraints. I tend to speak my mind, and I like to say things as they are. And those kind of people tend to struggle a bit in administrative posts, so to say. So after that, the question was then what next? And cinema was not even a thought, because it was just something that I fell in love with probably when I was 6 or 7, and we went to pick up our first TV set, and I was watching some movie on it, and I refused to go till the movie was getting over. So it was something that I loved. My family was not somebody who encouraged film watching. It was very frowned down upon. We were allowed to watch 2 English movies twice a year. That's it, nothing else. And it's a typical that Maratpalli kind of family, all lawyers, judges, academicians. Cinema is not even a thought there. So I used to sneak out with my domestic staff. Whenever they were going for a Telugu movie, I would beg my grandmother and get into a little rickshaw with them and go and watch whatever film I could. And that's how cinema, the bug of cinema actually grew in me. And I didn't really know that I was going to do something related to cinema. And I used to voraciously read Amar Chitrakathas. I still have my childhood Amar Chitrakathas with me. And Amar Chitrakatha, if you look at it, is nothing but a pictorial description of a story. It's actually the precursor to storytelling in cinema. It's short division, technically. So I don't know, I think in the subtext was there always. I never realized it till, I came back to Hyderabad, and then somebody said, I was thinking of getting into advertising because I used to write fairly well. So I thought I could write copy for advertising. And then somebody suggested, why don't I go and help out somebody who's making a children's film, which was Little Soldiers. And literally quite for a lark, I went there because I didn't know what an assistant director does. And I literally went and asked Gangaraj Garu, so what do you really need me to do? And he spoke to me and he said, look, this is my first film. I don't know what you're going to learn, but, hop along. And the first few days when I got along and got in, I had no clue there were no women, technicians there. A lot of people would think I'm the hairdresser, or people would think I'm a costume stylist. And, I would just go and ask the most obnoxious questions to Gangaraj Garu about the script or anything. I didn't understand that hierarchy or anything there. But, after working for a few days, everything started just organically adding up in my head. And I told my mom, I said, I think this is what I want to do. And my mother was petrified because she was, as it is, getting bombarded by the entire family. What is this? She's gone to JNU and now she's doing Telugu films. What is wrong with you? She should be, I had even secured admission in the London School of Economics, which I didn't go to. So my family was completely flabbergasted by all the decisions I was taking. And then she came and asked Gangaraj Garu. She said, look, she's wanting to get into films. Do you think she has a future? And he said, I think she has a very bright future. And that was just it. And my mom just backed me from there. And she said, just go do your thing. And everything was hunky-dory till I couldn't find a job after Little Soldiers because the film didn't do well. I didn't know how to go and ask people for work. And when I did go to Krishnavamsi, he said, we're not too comfortable having women here because the hours are late and I'm not too sure you should be here. So I didn't know what to do. And I was all set to go and do a Kannada film. Then finally now his wife, now Ramya, and then his girlfriend, she interfered. We had met earlier and she said, if you don't know Kannada, why are you doing a Kannada film? And she called up Mamsi and said, what do you mean you're not going to keep her because she's a girl? And then kind of bullied him into hiring me. And I made myself a promise. I said, someday this man is going to beg me to stay back here and work. And it actually happened. So that's how it happened.
Wonderful. Nandini, the first, I think, women producer and director was in 1920s in India. I think Fatima Begum is her name. Mm-hmm. Later on in Telugu industry, quite a few directors like Bhanumati Garu, and Nirmala Garu. They're all like very successful directors.
Right.
In between, nowadays we are not, how come, we should grow actually. In whole India also, they say 12% women directors on the whole is what, it's a creative field. Why can't we have, I can understand certain other fields where it is totally male dominated or something we can think of. It is a creative field, and lot of sensibilities can bring in. Why not that kind of numbers are not there?
See, in the 70s, if you remember, there was this wonderful lady director called Sai Paranjpe, who made all these Chashme Baddoor and these beautiful films with Farooq Sheikh and Deepthi Nawal. And they spoke about all middle class lives, about real stories, of beautiful love stories, about complications and things like that. I think through the 80s, with the whole angry young man of Amitabh Bachchan taking over, cinema stories became very male centric. Very skewedly male centric. In fact, we made better cinemas and stories in the 60s and 70s. They were more all encompassing rather than from what started happening in the 80s and 90s. So that kind of threw women technicians on the back pedal, because women are presumed not to understand what makes men laugh, how to make heroes look macho, and that whole male factor in the cinema. They don't feel or don't have the confidence that women technicians can deliver. Also, presumably, whatever stories the few women technicians that we had at that time were writing were not fitting into that space. I mean, I didn't see Sai Paranjpe going and writing an action film for Amitabh Bachchan, if you get what I'm saying. So I think somewhere that kind of threw the wagon off a bit. And what was happening is television was gaining momentum. And television was actually gaining a lot of inroads into the women audience. So a lot of the writers, a lot of the women technicians went into television. I'm sure Swapna will also know about this lot. So that's where you see the growth of Balaji and, that whole, period before that time. So there's a huge shift. So if you looked at cinema even 10 years back, I think television had about 60 to 70% women working,
Yes,
vis-a-vis cinema. So I think it was the tonality of the stories that were being told. And that again took a shift again, say about 10 to 15 years back. Again, the other kind of stories started changing. This formula started breaking a bit. It was not all those kind of films. Other films started coming. Because of the multiplex culture, different kind of narratives were accepted by the audience. So that gave a little bit more space. That's my understanding.
okay. I understand. Did you choose your script also that way to adjust to some not too much of expenditure and to some budget films or something like that?
Always, your first film, you will choose something that's not going to cost a whole lot of money. Otherwise, it's not going to get okayed.
I know. No, first, not first. In future, I mean, like near future, what you are making now, do you have any high budget movies right away, or you are choosing the script in such a way? Let me not go for high budget. Let me go for some sensibility. Are you feeling that way?
Well, the film I'm making for Swapna is my most expensive film so far.
Ah, okay.
It doesn't make logistical sense on paper because we don't have very big stars attached. But it's just her and my faith in the story. And in fact, I would keep going to Kunur to shoot, and I would ask Swapna, sure you want to spend this much on the film? She'd say, I know what I'm doing. Just go and get your work done. So see, cinema is not always a math. There is a math to it. There is a math, but there's a very calculated leap of faith that you take. Like my story is entirely set in Kunur, and that's what hikes up certain costs and all that. And Swapna knew what the value add that is going to bring to the story and the whole visual appeal that it's going to have for that particular story. So then there's a calculated expense there. If I have to set the same story in Hyderabad or something, sure, I can make it in half the cost, but it's not going to look the same and feel the same. So I don't write a story keeping a cost in mind. A story comes from something that I want to tell, something that I'm feeling, and a certain sensibility. What I am conscious of is how I'm spending that 1 rupee of my producer. Just because she's saying go spend, I don't kind of splurge. I'm always at the back of my mind thinking, am I spending this rupee in the best possible way? Because if that film recovers its cost, only I'm a successful director. If it makes even 10% less, then I have failed. So I have to also think from that aspect and do a kind of calculated call on depending on the aesthetic and what it needs. So spend my money where it is. absolutely necessary and save where I can. That's something that is just built into me, and that's how I operate. That's it.
I think it's a fantastic answer. With this itself, I think we have to put it everywhere for the producers to see and choose more women directors. Of course, they are very capable, but this is also one of the important thing. You spend if it is required, but spend sensibly. That is the most important thing. The next question, do you pick up your subjects? How do you do that? And where do you get your inspiration and ideas from?
That's a very difficult question to answer. I don't know, really. It's just a moment. Sometimes it's a conversation. Sometimes it's something that I read. And when I put pen to paper, I have to see if what I've written today is holding my interest tomorrow or day after. And more often than not, the minute I get an idea, I'll bounce it off somebody like Swapna or another friend or something and see how it's holding their interest. And then you start fleshing it out. So until you've actually fleshed out a story completely, you don't know if it's holding as an idea. So, and over a period of time, experience teaches you a few things about what will work and what will not. And you just got to follow your gut. I mean, nobody knows what story is going to work for everybody. Absolutely nobody knows. If you had that formula, they'd just be making super hit films. So we are our only backup plan. I mean, you have to follow your gut and listen to what your heart is telling you and figure it out. I collaborate with like-minded people. I openly listen to what they have to say and try to understand where they're coming from. And that's how it's done. That's it.
How do you think the next generation movies should be? I had seen your anthology of short movies on OTT platform. I thought it's a very, very smart move, for producers, for directors, giving that kind of, then more and more technicians can, make those kind of films. And it is a very healthy coming together is what I thought. So what do you think? And it will give a lot of flexible, and you are being very flexible and very maneuverable is what I thought by doing that.
I think the changes that are going to happen in storytelling are quite unimaginable at this point. It's changing very, very fast, technology. I mean, right now there is technology coming where you can shoot something in an entirely green matte story and then you can show and that too in live real time. I'm saying you can completely change the background. Tomorrow there will be technology where you just need to get the diagnostic of the actor and that's it. And then you create everything on the system. So we have an increasing number of generation who are gamers, who are watching stuff, and it's a very tech dependent life. So technology is hugely going to impact cinema. So it's going to empower filmmakers to a great extent. But the only question is if you can keep the heart of storytelling, which is always emotion, whether it's your grandmother telling you a story or whether you're watching S.S. Rajamouli's huge film or Spider-Man, it's the emotion of a story that always holds. So when emotion comes above technology, then cinema will truly flourish. So technology is always just to be supporting. So I feel there are going to be multiple formats and places where you can tell your story. So it's going to give range to a huge number of ways of storytelling. So the way you tell a story is rapidly changing, and we have to constantly be on our toes to see what the younger generation is doing. If you look at even Insta Reels nowadays, you see what is the innovative kind of stuff that is coming. So all this, you're going to see a reflection of it in cinema, and technology is going to play a huge part.
Yeah, you have to be tech savvy to go ahead in any field, I think. So tell me about the creative side and business side of a film, and how do you manage to balance both?
I am terrible with numbers and I'm terrible with business. So I work with producers who can take that load off me, like Swapna.
I have to just come in and tell her that she won't even know the amount that she drew or that she has to draw.
I have zero clue. The only amount of numbers that I will know is what is my budget and how much am I supposed to do this? How fast do I shoot it? That's all the thing. Otherwise, I'm all creative. It just doesn't work for me. I don't even keep a track of anything else. I stick to what my strengths are. I try to understand the business of cinema. I don't completely understand it, but I leave it to people who know their job.
Wonderful. Let me go to Malvika and then again I'll come back to you both. Uh, can I welcome Malvika, a smart, savvy girl who proved her acting skills through some very good performances. And glamour is optional. Talent is the main criteria, right? While acting, you can continue with your studies and it is like any other profession. Isn't it, Malvika?
Yes,
You had
most
proven that.
definitely.
I can totally identify with this movie, and because I had gone to Everest Base Camp and became really breathless. You must be 18 when you acted in that movie?
I was much younger. I think I was
Much
six
younger. Oh,
when,
God.
yeah.
So how did you manage? You are not breathless at that altitude, and how can you explain how did you do that?
Yes, honestly, that was 7 years ago. And it's
Oh,
interesting that you played this clip because those are one of my favorite scenes from Yavade.
oh,
And I don't know. I don't think I did so much thinking at 16. You're just doing what your parents are telling you, taking life as it comes. And that's exactly what it happened. It wasn't my idea to ever become an actor. Like Nandini said, she wasn't a very clear child. I was very clear from the beginning that I wanted to study physics, I wanted to do research. And movies were something that I did because my dad wanted me to do it. And that was the case till about a couple of years ago. Back then, I think I had no idea what I was a part of. It took me many years to realize how big Yavade had become and what Nagi had created, what Sapnaka and Priyanka had envisioned, and how much it had impacted our industry. I'm just extremely grateful to have been a part of it. I have no memory of it as such, but yes.
so how was the journey? I think at the age of 13 is what you entered.
Yes.
You know, it's too young, right? So how was the journey so far? And also, whatever my parents had said, I had that means your parents were accompanying you, to everywhere, even to the base camp and supporting you, or how did it go?
So, to answer your second question, my dad was with me for the first 7 days that we were on that trek. It was a 30-day trek because we had to trek and then shoot.
Yes, yes.
So, the rest of the 21 days, I was just taken care of like a little child by our stylist and by our ADs. So, the journey has been very interesting. I think a lot of the journey has happened within me and not so much in my movies because I do like one movie a year and try and get my life together elsewhere. I have been studying and I still am studying. I'm a student of philosophy right now. I think I like to be a part of different worlds. My primary identity is not that of an actor. And every world that I go to, especially worlds that I am not like, I don't know much about, like, let's say the entrepreneur world, that's never something that I have stepped into. So to know about things that I have never been a part of is something I find extremely interesting. So the journey has happened off screen rather than on screen. In the coming years, I want to be a little more aggressive as an actor and put my creativity out there.
You are continuing your studies and going to the college and all. How do you feel the attention and
It So I went to Francis here in Begumpet. That was about 2 years ago. That was very interesting. My friends would sort of corner me and tell me people are trying to take photos. They might approach you because I handle fame and recognition slightly better. Back then I didn't. I was 19 when I joined college. I didn't understand why people wanted photos with me when I just came here to study political science and leave. I think it's just been really wonderful, and I'm just incredibly proud of where I have gotten in terms of dealing with attention and fame at college. Teachers were especially sweet to me, and I could see what sort of acting and what sort of persona I projected in their reflection of how they treated me. They really admired my performance in Mahanati, in Yavade, maybe not so much in certain other movies which they didn't think were very intellectual. So I could see who I was coming across as a person when I went to college in Francis.
So you basically you enjoyed the attention, right?
You could say that.
And where are you doing your philosophy? You are going to the college now also, or is it a post graduation? What are you doing now?
It's post graduation, University of Edinburgh. It's in UK, so I'm not
Oh,
currently going there because of the COVID situation, and work is here. So yes,
oh.
it's online presently.
So you're doing online course. Good, good. So your characters in the movies, like whether it is Kuku or Everyday Subramanyam, it demands lot of hard work and homework also. I think you spent some time with blind children, or when you are acting in that movie. You are so young to do all that. So did your director asked, or your father asked you to do all that, or you yourself felt? How did you do that?
So, of course, the director did, but my father has been a big influence to me in my career and otherwise who I am as a person. And he's somebody who takes his work very seriously. He's somebody who's very integral. He doesn't want to just come off as somebody who's doing the work. He wants to put in the work. And I've seen that in the businesses that he's created, in sort of the social giving back that he wants to do, setting up an NGO and whatnot. So I come from a family which believes that you have to put in the work, that effort equals reward. So it wasn't like surprising to me that I had to put in so much work at 15 to play a role. Much later, when I kept getting asked these questions, is when I realized that, oh, there are certain, public people that may just not have to put in as much effort as you have to as an actor. So it was just natural to me that I have to do that. Yeah.
So when you're choosing a role, you go by strong script or a good production house, or what do you choose mainly?
A strong script, of course, but I have come to realize that a production house is extremely integral to support and visualize that story, because it's not just this, the movie is definitely made somewhat on the paper, but that's not what you see. That's really not what you see. And it's very difficult to judge what a story can be and possibly could be. And that a production house can do, a producer can do. So, yeah.
So what kind of impact do you think an actor has on audience and fans with their on-screen and off-screen presence?
It is a big impact. I mean, like any sort of celebrity, it is a big impact. Additionally, because an actor is sort of, what do you say? They're epitomized. Their beauty, they're seen as something more than a normal human being. I feel like what we say needs to come. They're put on a pedestal, is what I wanted to say. What we need to say has to come with a lot of responsibility. I would never endorse something or say something I absolutely don't believe in and cannot stand behind.
Fantastic.
And that is something I take very seriously.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I still remember Gopi Chand, that's shuttle player. He never endorsed aerated drinks. Simply, he said, "I don't believe in that." That's something very very wonderful to hear from you. So, how are working women in film industry are different, or perceived to be different from other working women? It is a
Uh,
career.
to be honest, sometimes I talk to my mother and she's still asking me, so after your philosophy degree, like, will you get an actual job? Because because they don't understand the concept of freelance. As an actor, I have a manager, but I work from paycheck to paycheck. They may be larger than what, my friends in corporate get in a month or so. But I think there definitely is a shift in perception, which has come with my, like, with how I have entered the industry. A lot of work has been done by my predecessors, who are women, who have sort of paved that path. So it's much easier for me to adjust today and explain to people that I'm an actor and not sort of withstand a lot of prejudice or stereotypes. So I'm thankful for that.
Very nice. So it's like I would like to put a common questions to everyone, and whoever would like to, they can answer. For the next generation, or coming up, what kind of advice do you give for the newcomers, whether it is in production, whether it is in direction, whether it is in acting? What do you suggest for the next generation or the generation now coming into film industry? Swapna, would you like to start?
Nandini is better off with
Okay, Nandini.
things.
I hate giving advice, but
No, you should, some sort of, because you are senior in the industry and
Yeah.
women would like to come into film industry. It's a great industry to come in. And also for outsiders, there is a lot of prejudice also. I think from you people, it has to come. It is, those kind of negative aspects are there in every industry. Maybe in a glamorous industry, it may be, exaggerated or something like that. So what is your take on that?
There are a couple of things. One, I think the whole glamour component of it is very, very attractive to a lot of the youngsters. I see young kids in a lot of fields who always say, I'm studying engineering, but I want to make a film. I'm writing my civils, but I want to make a film. It's like a dream that everybody has. Not many people really understand the odds. Not many people really are able to assess what their strengths are. I mean, I may well want to be an actor, but am I cut out to be an actor? Am I good enough to be a really good actor? These are the questions that we need to ask. So I would say, if it's your dream, you must pursue it, but give yourself a time frame. Give yourself a time frame to understand if you have the skill set to do it or not. There are courses and there are a lot of things to equip you, but do you have the natural ability to really rise to the top? Because the percentage of success is very, very low, actually. If you look at the industry, if you look at number of directors who are successful, a number of producers who are actually actively making films, it's a less, because you need persistence. You need a larger vision of a larger number of years. So you have to play for the long game, and you have to absolutely assess your strengths and weaknesses, and you have to listen to what people are telling you. So if you want to be part of the industry, give yourself a time frame, and I would say assess your strengths and face facts as they are. And it's very well to say, I want to be an actor, but if you don't have the things to cut out, then tell yourself, I'm just going to do that one film because I want to let that thing out. So I'll do a little cameo in a film also, and then go back to doing what I want to do. Because I see a lot of kids wanting to become directors, and I don't see a shred of that element in them, and they're just spending years and years just doing work here and really nothing productive. There are families who are better off, but for families who that money matters, and kids who are struggling to make ends meet, this is a call you need to really take.
How is the scenario? I know we are talking about actors and directors, and how about the other technical team? What are the options and openings for them?
I think it's pretty much the same, Uma. I think especially cinema. No, it's very glamorous in terms of it's very hugely dominated by the glamour of being in cinema. I think self-assessment is really important, like what Nandini said. Am I good with what I can? Or do I see myself doing this for the next 20 years? Or do I, can I really, can I take up this, especially this challenge of being defeated day in, day out, and can I withstand this is something that they need to understand. And when it comes to the other departments also, it's the same thing. I mean, if I want to be an editor, of course you're welcome. There's so many openings. We're very approachable. There are a lot of people who are willing to, looking for new talent. Like every single day, I'm actually wanting to work with newcomers. But then again, how much of talent are we really getting? I mean, it's very unfortunate that a lot of people call me and still say, my son's not doing anything, put him in cinema. I'm like, okay, sorry, cinema is not a dustbin. So, I mean, just for the heck of being in cinema, okay, I am doing cinema is a very, very glamorous thing to say, but it's so much hard work. I mean, just to be in departments like direction, assistant directors, how much, like girls, boys, how they work like their asses. They're very, very hardworking people. I mean, you really have to put all your thoughts, your social media, your life, everything besides, and need to work for it. Are you ready for it? That's something which they'll have to self-assess for themselves to come into this. And do they have that game? Like, do you want to, I mean, are you that creative person that you can be? But also, besides being creative, there are a lot of job openings in the production also. If you're great with management, and if I want to be in this particular field where there's a bit of creativeness and I can help and I can do numbers and stuff, great. I am every single day looking for good production executives. So there is definitely a lot of scope. There are openings. We're all approachable, just not us. All the production houses, directors, everybody. See, I have most of my directors coming and asking me, see, for example, Nandini and me don't work like we work on one film. I mean, if I'm working on some other set of projects also, I keep talking to her about, those are the projects. And so does Nandini about her own, whenever she does outside. There's a lot of other directors who come to me and ask me, Swapna, I want to work with more women. I'm talking about like one director that I'm working with called Hanu Raghav Pudi, a film that we're working on. The first thing that he said is, I want to work with a lot of women, which I've never worked with. I want girls to come in because I need to understand that nuance, like how they are looking at the script, how they look at that particular actor and all. I'm so glad, so things are changing clearly. Yeah, now he always keeps asking, can we look for women editors? Can we look for women editors? I keep asking Nagi always likes to do. His balance, his set of assistant directors are 50-50. His producers are pretty much women most of his life for him. I mean, till now at least, yeah. So, and he's like, I want women editors. I'm really looking for them. I said, why? They have patience. I need someone with patience, which is great. So I'm just not talking about women. I'm talking about all sectors. I think there's amazing. There's definitely scope. How they approach is what it is.
No, this is wonderful hearing that, and I'm sure more new directors, producer, actors, they are looking for more women crew to bring up more sensibilities and proper environment, and I feel they act really professional is what I also feel like any other field, like board of directors. Why everyone is looking for women board, directors in the board, to bring another kind of sensibilities into the board. It is the same for, I think, film industry. I'm sure more and more women directors, technicians, actors will come, and definitely one day, it is like gender is not a big thing, it is the talent which is important. I'm sure
it is not. It is not, Uma. The biggest task is running a home. If women can do that well, they can do anything well. So nothing is as complicated as home. So yeah, we do that all the time. So I think,
So Nandini, what advice, a final advice to all those people who want to come into the industry? I know you already said, as a finishing touch, would you like to say something?
Look, what is life if you don't follow your dreams and if you don't follow your heart and don't do something that doesn't make you happy? When I was very confused about my career and I didn't know what to do, I asked my dad, what do you think I should do? And should I kind of look for a career which makes more money or what? And then my dad said, do something that you love. And if you love making shoes, then you're going to make the best pair of shoes in the whole world and you're going to sell it for as much as you want. So you have to, be able to come every day and do something that you love. And the industry is a crazy place. It's crazy hard work, like Swapna said, but we're all here because we love what we do. We're absolutely passionate. We're so crazy about what we do that we do this work, that we will go through hell and high water. We will go through COVID and we will go through anything and we will come back and still think of another story. So I think that passion has to be there at the core of what you do. And that's the only thing that's going to make you happy as a human being, right? So I think that's absolutely key to any profession that you choose.
Wonderfully said. Malvika, what do you say?
I think I completely agree with Nandini. It doesn't matter. And I think that advice is universal, to follow your heart, specifically to actors up and coming, which I already see happening. I think work on yourself. Take the time out to work on your craft, to work on your body, work on your diction, every single aspect, that you become an asset to the producer and the director, that they have to tweak your acting, your talent to the minimum. Yeah.
Wonderfully said. Finally, whatever it is, the passion, hard work, and determination is what which will finally pay. That's fantastic. We would like to take some few questions from audience if there is anything. Radhika, can you take it forward?
Yes, Uma. Thank you all for sharing your inspiring insights on movies, your behind the scenes camera experiences, and motivating all of us. Women Power or Nari Shakti is truly about changing mindsets. Now, I'd like to take a few of our members' queries from the chat box. So we have this query from Lavanya, who is an advocate. And she has this question for both Swapna and Nandini. She wants to understand whether you as a producer and director have an adequate legal support in your contract negotiations in Telangana. What are your main pain points in this area?
Very interesting. So when I came in, when I started my career with my father, I just went back into accounts. I said, let's just open the contracts and see where the contracts are. We didn't have a single page, but then he made like about 35 films by then, 35 years of his journey he had by then. And then, it was just the word and the trust. And things have changed. Yes, we are now in a more corporate sector, and we do a lot of paperwork. And yes, we have adequate support legally. We do a lot of paperwork. It all depends on a project to project, what it needs and where it needs. Like, for example, with Nandini Reddy, I'll never do a contract. Neither will she ask me for a contract. So sometimes, it's one great thing that I like to share on this platform, that, when we went with the contract to Mr. Shri Amitabh Bachchan, he didn't even look at it. He just started signing it. I said, sir, they'll have to look at it. If the intention to cheat is there, even if it's a 200 page or a 2-page, it's there. So, for me, the whole perception of contracts and the paperwork changed. That's exactly how my father and all used to work back then. He did like about 7, 8 films or 5, 6 films with Chiranjeevi Garu. He never had a single page of contract. So, but yes, things have changed. Now we have adequate support. There's especially for a project like that we're working on, like a pan-Indian one. Yeah, Bombay is definitely way forward than us. They do work on a lot of paperwork, like ridiculous amount of paperwork. In South, we don't do so much, but yes, we're definitely heading there. We have a lot of, we definitely have good support in those towns. Yeah.
I think the corporate culture brought in more of the paperwork. Hitherto, it was all word of mouth. I think once the corporate started funding cinema, especially in Mumbai, and all, a lot of paperwork started coming. So the only paperwork I've really technically signed was for Netflix or something. For some of my films, I wish there was paperwork. For example, my second film, because I got into a huge tangle with my producer, and if I had paperwork, maybe I would have had a way out. But yeah.
Thank you. Now, this question is from Sujita. Do you think OTT platform opened up more opportunities for debut directors and actors? So I think this would be for Nandini and Malvika. So if you could address it, it would be nice.
Mal, you want to take that first?
Definitely, most definitely. Like Umagaru said in the beginning, glamour is not important, and OTT has really proven it. It is purely story-based, talent-based, and you're a star overnight just because of how you could pull off the character. It's very rewarding for actors like me who have carved a niche out for themselves and want to stick to it, vehemently. So I'm excited about OTT, and that question just answers itself. It's a statement and not a question.
Yeah, I agree with Malvika in the sense. Even if you look at, apart from new directors, of course, it is a huge opportunity for new directors, writers, new talent, because the story is the hero in that. But for somebody like me also, who had been slotted into one kind of a box by the audience, to go and do Pittakadalu for Netflix, I did something completely out of my comfort zone. So it was very freeing for me as a storyteller to go and tell a completely different kind of story and not worry about box office and release and things like that. So I completely enjoyed my stint with Netflix. And I would in the future also look at telling completely different OTT stories, probably something not really expected from me. So it gives me a chance to explore another side to myself as a storyteller. So I think it's definitely opening up huge possibilities for everybody, established or non-established.
Nandini, your journey has been very interesting. I'm sure it's been an inspiration for all of us, and it's a classic example as to how destiny guides you in the right direction. So now I have my next question from Pratibha. She is asking that she's from media and entertainment skill to ecosystem. And can they look at internship?
Swapna?
Of course, you can, but depending on what you're looking at. I mean, if you're looking at production or direction, or you're wanting to be an actor, I mean, what kind of internship are you looking at? And I think approach the right people for it. Yes, of course. I mean, there are lots of interns working in our system itself. Not only ours, in almost all the production houses. You can approach anyone, but just make sure the direction that you take, where you want to, so that you can learn well.
Nandini, this question is for you. Cast, costumes, colors, and music. How do you manage to add your creativity in all of them?
Cast, costumes, colors, and
music.
Music. Okay. So a story, the person who has written the story and the director have a definite vision for it. So although I will not tell my music director exactly what kind of tune I want, because that's his job, but I will tell him what is the emotion I'm looking at, what is the sound I am kind of feeling is right for the film. So I kind of guide everybody along, because you're kind of leading a team. So you hone everybody into that vision, because you have the absolute eagle eye on the story. And everybody is kind of confined to their departments. So how you bring them into the larger vision is your job as a director.
Okay, thank you. So Swapna, this is for you. Production house is like a joint family. You being so young, has it been difficult to lead and be taken seriously?
Yeah, I think I've addressed this before also. I mean, initially, yeah, it was a bit of a battle. As in, did I face it directly? Maybe not, but yeah, definitely took some time to put things together, put a project together, for sure. I mean, I definitely had to, though I came from a certain setup, it took a lot of time for me to prove myself. So that's one of the main I mean, television has helped me like mind-blowingly in that aspect. So whatever I am today, I give it to television content, because that's where I started from, and my foothold was that. So that's a place where we didn't have any sort of experience when it comes to like my father or the production house. So I started everything on my own. My journey was from there. So that gave me that bit of benefit in the market to start off on my own.
Okay. So this question is for Malvika. You have established your name in the industry at the age of 20. What are your future plans, and what would you like to do to create an impact for women in the society?
My future plans are pretty much what I have been doing, but a little more aggressively. Putting myself out there, I think, as an actor is very important, because, like I said, this real job is really what you make of it and what your vision is for it. So to do movies which I believe in, which I would watch as an audience, characters that I believe in, work with wonderful, amazing people like Swapna, Nandini, and several others. And how would I impact? I think take it as it comes. The little steps that you take. Just this interview, let's say, putting myself out there, being true to myself, and I do believe that.
Yeah. Thank you so much, all of you, for addressing all the queries and clarifying our doubts. Now, our chairperson, Uma Chigurupati, will felicitate our esteemed guest speakers, Ms. Swapna Dutt, Ms. Nandini Reddy, and Ms. Malvika Nair, with Bidri Mementos. I would now request our Senior Vice Chairperson, Shubhra Maheshwari, to deliver her vote of thanks.
The power of a good film is to engage you and draw you into its world. We as humans love stories in general, and the visual storytelling of movies has captivated audiences since the inception. Across the world, nothing draws crowds in the millions like a new movie. In India specifically, cinema has become a part of the fabric of our culture. We produce more movies than any other country, and they are viewed by millions not only in India but across the world. Over the years, Indian cinema has witnessed a significant change, not only in the way women are portrayed, but also in their roles behind the camera, owing to the struggles and dedication of such phenomenal women as our speakers today. We at Flow Hyderabad would like to express our appreciation to producer Ms. Swapna Dutt, director Ms. B.V. Nandini Reddy, and actor Ms. Malvika Nair for paving the way for women in the film industry. Thank you all for giving us a sneak peek into behind the curtains of the glamorous world of films that we so lovingly see. We express our gratitude to our platinum partners, Greenco, Gold partners, Granules India, and branding partner RBC for their continued support. We thank our IT team for the seamless coordination and to Flow members, past chairs, Team 2122 for their unflinching support in making this program a success. And till we meet again in person, ladies, mask up, and let's hope this wave of COVID is also the end of the pandemic. Thank you.
So thank you so much, all three of you, for joining here. It's wonderful for all the insights and all. And I'm looking forward for an all-women crew. No men, just a women movie. So all the best.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Uma, for having us all together. And it's really nice. And the kind of effort that you all put into this is incredible and great. Thank you so much. It's really a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much. And thank you, Nandini. I stopped you from going to Kunur and, continue with your work and all. I think now you can go ahead. And I think Malvika, we lost her, connection.
I think she got disconnected.
I'll talk to her later. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
On behalf of Chairperson Uma Chigurupati and her committee, I thank you all for being here. It is your support that keeps us going. Today, cinema is riding on the wave of new generation women producers, directors, and versatile actors like you all, and who are challenging the status quo and redefining Indian cinema, making our country proud. I salute your roaring spirit. All set to tread on the road less taken, the future we feel is definitely female. Wishing you all a happy and safe weekend. Thank you and namaste.